Here's the agenda for tonight. Introduction to Minnesota Rovers. Then we're going to have some member stories. Then we're going to have a slideshow featuring a lot of Rover activities. Then we'll talk about member benefits. And then we're going to have breakout rooms for different activities. So we got a list of different activities. And you can go to talk to one of our Rover members who's particular expert on that activity. And then a general Q&A and social time at the end. So Rovers does a lot of different activities. Some of them are beginner friendly, some are more advanced. So we normally specify ahead of time so you know what to expect. But you can see the list. I don't need to read down the list, but those are a list of the activities we generally do. I'm sure there's some other activities that aren't on that list, but and it's all to do with whatever members are interested in doing. You can normally find some other people to share your interest. We do have a board of directors. I'm tempted to say who run the club, but that's really not true because members do a lot for the club. So the board of directors takes care of some important tasks, but members are also part of running the club too. So we do have different people for different things that need to get done. So if you've always wanted to be on a board but you haven't yet, we'll be looking for people towards the end of the year. Now I'm going to hand it over to Dave to talk about some of our sample activities. Are you there, Dave?
Yep. So in the next coming weeks and about the month or so, we've got a number of activities coming up. Starting this Thursday, we've got a midweek morning hike. That's at Lebanon Hills down in Eagan. This September 10th and 12th, the trip is already full, but there's a beginner backpacking trip to Sumi Hills. Just a little note here, for those who are just joining our meeting here for the first time, we had a new beginner backpacking program this past summer to get people introduced to the activity, and we may have another one next year. And so if you're interested, keep that in mind. There will be opportunity to talk about that more tonight during the intro show. This coming Thursday through Sunday, there's another multi-day trip that's also full. This next Saturday, the 18th, we've got prairie seed collection at Murphy Henry Park Reserve in Savage. Thursday through Sunday, the 26th, 23rd to 26th, we've got the fall extravaganza at Forestville Mystery Cave State Park, with more details to follow in a minute here. In early October, 3rd through 7th, we've got cycling, camping, and hiking at Door County, Wisconsin. The 21st through 24th of October, we got, again, camping, hiking, biking, and paddling at Wildcat Mountain State Park in Wisconsin. And last but not least, in late October, we've got the annual Halloween trip. It's at the Environmental Learning Center in Lanesboro. It's Friday through Sunday that weekend. And check out the website for more at mnrovers.org. Over the past summer, we've had Monday and Thursday night bike rides all through the summer until the end of August. And we've also had midweek hikes. Again, like Barry said, it's members that really make this organization run. Members create the trips, they submit them, and we wouldn't be here without members like you submitting trips, just like the ones we've had over the summer. All right.
Okay, thanks, Dave. And I should point out, I think Dave just mentioned it, but that wasn't a complete list of trips and activities. So please check out the website that you can see at the bottom, and you'll see there's more trips because we had some posted just today that haven't got to there yet. Cindy, are you out there?
Some of the examples. So I'm the conservation chair, and in a couple of weeks we have a prairie seed collection trip out at Murphy Hanrahan Park Reserve. That's in conjunction with Three Rivers Park Reserve, and we have an option of a bit of a hike beforehand, and then we meet with all the other volunteers, and they will help us train us and how to do that. We did just do another prairie seed collection trip on the 28th, and that one was at Crowhassan Park. Some of the other past activities that we've done for conservation include buckthorn removal at the there's a Rovers woodlot at Elm Creek Park Reserve, and also buckthorn removal at another lot at Murphy Henrihan. Also, Rovers do some trail maintenance on the Border Route Trail. If you're not familiar with the Border Route Trail, it's a 65-mile trail through the boundary waters. As the name implies, it's along the border of Minnesota and Ontario. It was the first trail in Minnesota that was completely volunteer planned and created, and it's still completely volunteer maintained. And the Rovers help out with the Border Route Trail Association and do trail clearing trips in the spring and fall to help keep that trail in good shape.
Thanks, Cindy.
Yep.
Sue,
Yes.
you going to talk about the volunteering?
Yes, sir. The club, along with the conservation and trail maintenance, we also do other volunteering events, such as free bikes for kids, where we do bike refurbishing. You could do cleaning or wrenching or help with the distribution. We have also partnered in the past with REI and helped them with their National Get Outdoors Day that they've held in Powderhorn Park, and the Winter Trails Day at Fort Snelling State Park. At the Winter Trails Day, we would help people put on snowshoes, usually for the very first time, and they got to experience the joy of snowshoeing, which many of us have done already. Thanks, Barry.
Thanks, Sue. So now we want to get on to extravaganza, which is an important part of an important trip of the year. So Stacy, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the Minnesota Rovers sponsors two extravaganzas, once in the fall and one in the spring. And our fall one is coming up later this month, Thursday, September 23rd through Sunday, the 26th. And it's going to be down at Forestville Mystery Cave State Park in the southeast part of the state. They are a really neat opportunity to experience an overnight Rovers trip, meet Rovers members, and then also take part in various outdoors activities. And unlike most of our overnight trips, you don't have to be a Rovers member to come on this overnight opportunity. It's posted on the trips page. And so if you want to register, you can go to the trips page, or you can go to this link here that's at the bottom. Cost is fairly reasonable. It's free if you just want to come for the activities. But the most that you would pay would be $25 to camp for 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and have 2 group meals, Saturday evening dinner and Sunday breakfast. We do those 2 group meals, and we'll have a potluck on Friday night, but otherwise you'll provide all the rest of your meals. And so if you want to go to the next slide, we'll just see, this is a sample of how the weekend might look. And so typically we will have hiking, biking, paddling. There's going to be fireside follies on Saturday evening after dinner. And unlike other extravaganzas, we will have an opportunity to go caving because Mr. Cave is right there. And one of our members is also going to demo or give people an opportunity to try out fly fishing, which is not something we normally have. So if you're interested, go to the trips page and sign up there, or you can go to the extravaganza registration page. Karen, is there anything else that I didn't say that you want to mention?
I think it's a really good, you probably said it, but it's a really good introduction to meeting a lot of Rovers and getting a really good idea of some of the super fun things that we do. Everybody is super helpful. If you've never camped before, there's going to be somebody there that's going to show you how to help you set up your tent, talk about gear. and talk about activities. And if you're uncomfortable with one, they may encourage you to give it a try. So it's just everybody, I feel, has been super friendly when I've been to at Extravaganza, because I've only been a member for a couple years, and it was one of my first events, and it really sold me on Rovers.
Rob, did you want to add anything about Fireside Follies and your camping 101?
I did and I do. So it was mentioned that there'll be someone there to help with basic camping stuff, and that someone is going to be me this year and my wife Lori. So basically, we're going to have a bunch of Rovers gear, tents, sleeping bags, sleeping mats, etc. That we will do a hands-on demonstration, whereas you would set it up with some limited instruction as needed. We may also throw up a tarp, may hang a bear bag, whatever people feel like they need to do. So it's really just covering the basics of getting a campsite together if you've never camped or are fairly new to camping. And you might be old to camping, but all the gear is new. I know that happened to me before. All the gear changed. So then, as Stacy mentioned, on Saturday evening, we're having Fireside Follies, which is what I've named basically a Rovers talent show. So basically, we're looking for anyone that can do anything and willing to do it in front of a crowd. We have had a lot of good acts. People have read stories, people sing songs, and the real only hard rules are two. One, we don't allow electronics. And secondly, we keep it like R-rated or cleaner because there may be children around. So I would encourage people for either of those things, either the Camping 101 is what I'm calling it, or the Fireside Follies, to go onto the website and then notify me if you intend to do either of those things or both, so that I can look for you for one thing and get you scheduled as an act on Fireside Follies. I think that covers it. Thank you.
Did Suresh want to say anything about stargazing?
Sure. Probably looking at Saturday night to do this. I guess I will follow the Fireside Follies depending on where that ends. When that ends, I should say, because I think this will be in 2 weeks, right? So it'll start to get dark around, I'll say about 8:30. So that'd be about the time that we will start the stargazing. So I'll set up a telescope. Hopefully there's a spot there where there's not as many trees, that it's still near the campsite. So if the committee can help me to find such a site, that'd be awesome. And like I said, I'll just follow Rob's activity.
So now I want to pass it over to Sue to introduce some member stories.
Hi, everyone. Sue again here. I'm the publicity director. And one of the things I wanted to bring to our intro show tonight was some actual member stories. We talk a lot about the club and the board kind of goes on and on. But sometimes it's nice to hear from the actual people, the actual Rovers. Earlier in the show, we talked about being beginner friendly, and Nancy Grace is going to cover that. And we talked about covering advanced challenges, and Mike was supposed to cover that. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us, but I have a couple examples. And then Suresh is going to talk again about that volunteer aspect. And you'll end up seeing that this club is really what you make it. You can bring your interests, but I don't want to talk too much and take away Suresh's spiel. So let's change the slide and we'll start with Nancy Grace.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sue, for having me, and Barry, thank you for hosting. I could talk for hours, and Sue or nobody wants me to do that. This is my first anniversary of being a Rovers member. I attended this same intro session last year, and as soon as it was over, I went and joined Minnesota Rovers. And that was as a result of going into the breakout rooms and talking to Rob and Lori about rock climbing, which is what I've always wanted to do and had never done it. And I hopped into like the volunteer room and I talked to so many people. And just on that one call, met a lot of people through the wonders of Zoom. And then since then have had the opportunity to go rock climbing with Rob and Lori. And I've gone hiking with Suresh, and I have gone snowshoeing. And my life has been changed. And I know that that can sound sort of informational, infomotional, like, 2:00 in the morning, you're turning on the TV and someone says, this will change your life. And it's true. I mean, I am much more active than I'd ever been prior to that. I've met amazing, friendly, kind, welcoming people. And I have to say, for anybody who either hasn't gotten out into nature or it's been a while, you go on your first Rovers, be it walk, be it snowshoeing trip, be it anything, and everyone is helpful and kind and patient. Oh my gosh, Rob and Lori were so patient with me when we went rock climbing at Taylor's Falls. And don't be afraid to ask questions, because I was a sedentary person. I went bike riding occasionally, went for walks, and this last year my activity has just racketed up. So again, I can't say enough nice things about it, and nice isn't the word. I mean, it's the best thing I've done for myself in the time of COVID is to join Rovers. And if anybody has any questions for me, you can definitely contact me via email. We can chat tonight if you want to, but I also don't want to take away your time from being on the show. But when we say it's beginner friendly, it absolutely is. And I will, after this intro show tonight, go and renew my membership for the next year. So thank you to everybody who's been so kind to me and welcoming. And I look forward to the next adventures. I did have a slight accident this past weekend. I fractured my ankle, not in any way Rovers related. As soon as I heal from that, I'll be ready to get active again.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Nancy
Nancy
Grace.
Grace.
You're welcome.
The next slide was supposed to be Mike, but I'm going to just speak for Mike a little bit. Barry, if you could circle who Mike is in that one slide, Iron My Headband. Well, I guess it's obvious. He's the only guy there. There you go. Mike joined the club in 2006, and I would say he plays outside exuberantly. You can see that he has done a Tough Mudder here, and that's a couple other Rover folks that he's doing that with. This other picture with the backpackers was actually a beginner backpacking group that was going 3 or 4 miles a day. And then there was another backpacker group that was going 10 to 12 miles a day. And we ended up crossing on the SHT. And we just thought that was delightful, having beginners and advanced people on the same trail at the same time. Other things that Mike has done is he has done a through hike of the Keckabek Trail. He's done a sadistic century bike ride and several of those Tough Mudders. So the club also has room for people who like adventure, like doing things a little bit tougher. And then on the next slide, Suresh is going to talk to us about how he shares his love of another outdoor activity with the group.
Hi, everybody. Can everybody see and hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So my Rover story begins in 2002 when I moved here from Oregon. I'm originally from Chicago. And in Chicago, I never did anything outdoorsy. Like I never went hiking, I never camped. I think I camped once for Cub Scouts when I was like 11. That was the gist of all my camping experience. Then I lived in Oregon and I just never got around to the outdoors, and people who have been out to the Northwest know how beautiful it is. So I really made it a priority when I moved here to find an outdoor club. That was like my #1 goal when I moved here. So I went to REI and they gave me a list of places to go. And then I ended up at Midwest Mountaineering. And that's where I found out about the Rovers. So I attended my first event in, I think, must have been July or early August of that year. And it was Summer in the Sticks. And I just loved the group. And the thing about the Rovers is, and I say this frequently, I spend a lot of time with my astronomy buddies. but my friends are in the Rovers. And I have a lot of Rover friends. And many of them, believe it or not, I met on my first day in Rovers back in 2002. And we've kind of lived our lives together ever since. So anyway, so I wanted to learn a lot about doing and coordinating outdoor activities. So back then I got back into biking, which I hadn't done since I was a teenager. I hiked, I camped, I started doing more downhill skiing and kayaking trips. I bought a kayak, I bought a lot of gear back then. And then I started coordinating a lot of big size trips. A lot of people know me for big trips. I don't like saying no to people. So I like to plan big trips because I don't have to say no to anybody. So early on, we started doing trips to places like Voyageurs National Park, Custer, the Badlands, Theodore Roosevelt National Park, etc. And these are usually trips in the 20 to 40 person range that I like to do. And so I got to meet a lot of people. I got to try a lot of different activities. But to the point here is I also got to marry a lot of my outdoor interests with my childhood passion of amateur astronomy. So people that know me from even back then knew I almost always brought a telescope along to these places, even when it didn't seem like it was going to be worthwhile. I got into astronomy when I was in high school. And then when I moved to Oregon, then here I was into my career and I wasn't doing a lot of it then, but I still kind of kept my interest. I did a lot of rover trips in this period. So say 2002 to 2012 or 13, it was primarily rover trips. So I keep track of all my trips and things. So I did over 100 trips in that time period, probably closer to 150 or so. And then starting around 2012, 2013, I started getting back into astronomy again. I reconnected with my astronomy club and it just took off. So it was not intentional at all, but as I look back on my life now, I had a decade where it was purely outdoor activities with the Rovers. And since then, I've been more shifted towards the astronomy group, but still keeping my foot in the Rovers. So how did I do that? Well, ever since I think around 2004, 2005, I did an annual astronomy trip for the Rovers. We used to go to places like Baylor Regional Park, where my astronomy club has an observatory, and a few other places. But as I got back into astronomy, I got more telescopes and my interest just grew. So I needed to get out places that were darker and can accommodate a rover-sized crowd. So starting in, I think it was 2014, I started leading trips to Wildcat Mountain State Park in Ontario, Wisconsin. And people that have been on that trip know kind of the way I do things. We had about 50 people on that trip, as I recall. We hiked and paddled on the Kickapoo River during the day. Well, hiked nearby, but paddled on the Kickapoo River during the day. And I did astronomy at night. So we didn't get a whole lot of sleep, but that was fine. And so that way I was able to keep my two interests together. And if people were interested in more in astronomy, I would try to help them out, either with my equipment or to point them at my club. There was a time where the president of my astronomy club was a rover and the president of Rovers was in my astronomy club. So apparently I succeeded in that. And then starting in 2018, we stopped going to Wildcat. We started going to Long Lake Conservation Center. It's about 2.5 hours north of here near McGregor. And the first year there, we had 72 people on that trip. So like I said, I like to do big trips. So one of the questions I was asked to talk about is how do I go about organizing these kinds of trips? So it's kind of a labor of love with me. So I'm a finance person by profession, so I spend a lot of time in Excel anyway. So I always say you have to be organized when you do these kinds of things. I keep meticulous records of people's names, their interests and activities, food allergies, what city they live in case they say want a carpool or something, and the like, and then communicate again. That's basically the gist on how to plan big trips and keep everybody informed and organized. The other thing too, I would say is, so prioritize gear sharing and ride sharing and these kinds of things, and food, like figure out who's going to do what. I also like to break out subcommittees, so people who want to do particular activities, they can plan that. Other people that are better with food, they can plan that. And so I really enjoy having these big rover trips where we'll do rover activities during the day. If it's cloudy at night, we'll do campfires and we'll sing along. And if it's clear, we'll pull out telescopes and we'll show people the stars. So that's basically my experience with rovers and what I like to do. Hopefully that answers the questions that Sue asked earlier, me to talk about.
Thank you,
Thanks, Suresh.
Suresh. Also, I want to mention that he also does some small trips. He organizes just walks around town, couple 3 hours in the evening. So everything is volunteer coordinated except those extravaganzas and the conservation trips. Any Rover member can say, hey, who wants to go for a walk? And Suresh was doing that all summer, inviting people just to go on walks.
Sue, may I add one thing, speaking of walks?
Yes.
So I am, I've mentioned this a couple of times. I am, again, this is what you can do as a rover, and 1 year in is I am starting to work on a Sunday morning hike on the east or north side of the metro area. And my injury will keep me out of it for a little bit, but anybody who's interested, you'll see that soon. And I've had like 3 people sign up and say they'd like to be co-leaders for the walk. So you'll be seeing emails or things on the website about a Sunday morning hike. And so look for that. And again, we can do that as rovers, and it's a great thing to be able to lead something and have people join us.
That is a bring your own crutches hike, right?
Yes, that is a bring your own crutches and or walker opportunity. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Nancy Grace and Suresh. And also on the activities, if it's a day trip, you don't have to be a member. You only need to be a member to go on the overnight trips. So come and join us for a hike and get to know people and ask more questions. Thanks, Barry. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
You also don't have to be a member to attend our meetings. We have meetings almost every Tuesday of the year. We might skip it if it falls on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, or National Night Out when not many people are going to show up. But so at our Tuesday meetings, we have trip reports of trips that have gone out, trip announcements of trips that are coming up. We also have interesting presentations, which we'll talk more about in a second here. During the summer, we meet outside in the park. And during the winter, we normally meet at McAllister. But right now, with the whole COVID thing, McAllister is a big question mark. We're not sure what we're going to do. So we're doing online meetings for now. But I want to hand it over to Fran to talk more about the presentations that we have at the Tuesday meetings.
Thanks, Barry. Every meeting we have some kind of presentation or some kind of activity. So last week we had an amazing presentation about the science behind auroras, led by, and that was done by Astro Bob King. He was, since we use Zoom, he was able to zoom in from Duluth. When we were meeting in the park, in a usual summer, we have a gear swap at the end of the summer. We have a gear swap in the spring when we start meeting in the park. We also in August had a bike maintenance clinic where people could bring their bikes and have help doing minor kinds of bike maintenance or troubleshooting problems they were having with their bikes. We also had somebody present on foraging and demonstrating all kinds of stuff right there in the park that you could actually eat. It was fascinating. So those are some of the things that we've had recently. But we have some cool stuff coming up. Next week, I'm super excited. We're getting ready to have the extravaganza at Forestville Mystery Cave and do some caving. And next week, we have Michael coming in to do a presentation about exploration of Minnesota River Cave. This particular cave is in southeastern Minnesota, is newly found and newly explored. Actually, its location is being kept secret to keep people from going there. And we will get to see pictures and hear a presentation of the real first exploration of this cave. That should be amazing. Most of our presentations we're able to record, and then we post them on our YouTube channel. we are not going to be able to record the one next week at the request of the presenter. So make a point of coming because I think it is going to be amazing. So that's next week. The week after that, Audrey and Mel are going to be talking about free bikes for kids, which we've already mentioned is one of the things that we do as part of our volunteer effort, is fixing up bikes so that every kid can have access to a bike for this charity. On the weekend after, or the Tuesday after that, on the 28th, one of our members, Tom, who works at REI, is going to be talking about real details in making good choices about outdoor footwear. Everybody who's done outdoor activities knows how important the proper kind of footwear is. And then in October, we're going to have Sharon, the bird chick, back. She was with us talking about phone apps and birding and things like that. We also were going to have somebody talking about sea kayaking in the Sea of Cortez in Baja. And so we have a presentation every week. We also rely on Rovers to present interesting trips and interesting things that they've done. And other people who are interested just in talking about something related to the outdoors or some interesting trip that they've done. So I'm always looking for presentations to fill these slots. But I've been pretty lucky because we've had some pretty cool ones, and I'm looking forward to some of the ones we have scheduled for later this year. So thanks, Barry.
Thanks, Fran. Okay, so what we have now is we're going to have a slideshow. And here we go.
Summer's day in Shepherdstown, an eagle in a thermal is a circling round like a tire on a bike rolling down Columbus Street. But Katie got a little look of hope in her eyes, and her arms unfold as she looked to the skies and said, I'm gonna learn to fly around with you, yeah. She jumped up high and she fell on the ground and skinned her little knee and made a horrible sound. She got right up and she tried it again, and smiling all the way with her unstoppable grin. Take time, do what you're gonna do, and just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and lift you off the ground. Oh no, take time, do what you're gonna do, just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and you will learn to fly. Children used to laugh at her. They say your head is in the clouds, and when you come back to earth, the men in the white coats, they will all be waiting for you. But Katie knew that there was something they didn't see, and she climbed up to the top of a sycamore tree and said, look out world, I am gonna fly away. She stood so tall and with all her might she took a flying leap of an astonishing height. A wind blew through and it carried her high, and Katie knew that she was just beginning to fly. Well, take time, do what you're gonna do, and just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and lift you off the ground. No, no, take time, do what you're gonna do, just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and you will learn to fly. You're gonna do and just smile, you're gonna see it through, and your wings are gonna sprout and lift you off the ground. No, no, take time, do what you're gonna do, just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and you will learn to fly. Well, take time, do what you're gonna do, and just smile, you're gonna see it through. Your wings are gonna sprout and lift Yeah, I will try to do my best to keep you safe inside this nest and keep the gravity from pulling you to earth. I'd like to say this gets more clear when it's more cloudy every day. But summer's gonna come and burn the stormy clouds and all the doubt away. Sleep, little girl, 'cause when you wake it's gonna be a different world. So close your eyes and say goodbye to spring. It's true, the spring is coming to an end. You're not that fragile anymore. I know what's there behind that door, and it's just waiting in the wings to pull you in. I know you think you're safe in here inside these insulated walls, but I can't hold this house together, not forever, yeah, soon it's gonna fall. Sleep, little girl, 'cause when you wake it's gonna be a different world. Everything will change. Everything will change. The door's slamming shut. It's gonna catch you if you're ready or you're not. So close your eyes and say goodbye to spring. Slow down, 'cause winter's just around the bend. Don't make a sound, and close your eyes and say goodbye, yeah. Sleep, little girl, 'cause when you wake it's gonna be a different world. Everything will change. Everything will change. This door's slamming shut. It's gonna catch you if you're ready or you're not. So close your eyes and close your eye to spring. Sleep, little girl, 'cause when you wake it's gonna be a different world. Everything will change. Everything will change. This door's slamming shut. It's gonna catch you if you're ready or you're not. So close your eyes and say goodbye to spring.
I hope you enjoyed that. That just showed some of the things that Rovers does during the year. Okay, so now I want to talk about member benefits. If you are a member of Minnesota Rovers, and I'd like to introduce Dave, if you're around there, Dave, to talk about the equipment locker.
Yes, I'm this year's equipment director, and if you don't have camping gear, save for the extravaganza, and you can check it out from the Rovers equipment locker, and we have a list here of equipment we have, and just click on the link for the equipment director. The message will come to me, and we'll arrange a time for you to pick up gear. It's can only be used on posted Rovers trips. So there we go.
Thanks, Dave. So it generally can only be used by Rover members on posted Rover trips, as David said, but then also one exception is with the extravaganza, we bring equipment down for people that to use that aren't Rover members. So that's the one exception. We also have discounts. Sue, were you going to speak about this?
Yes, we have some local discounts around town and even around the state a little bit. One of the discounts that some people tend to like, especially over the winter, is I think it's at Vertical Endeavors during the week. A really nice discount there. We have a new discount. It was so short we didn't get it on the website, but 25% off on the paddle share, where you can check a kayak out upstream and take it downstream and check it back in, just like the nice ride bikes. We're hoping we can get that discount back again next summer in time for folks to use. Also, we have Minnesota Rovers clothing. If you haven't noticed Barry and I wearing our Rovers caps, I think there might be a few other members there. Lori has hers on. We also have hoodies. We have jackets. We have winter caps. And the ordering period, there are just windows to order it. We have to meet a quota of 12 to place an order. We're about halfway through that quota right now. So you could be a member or a non-member if you just love some Rover stuff. Head to any of our web pages. Way down at the bottom, you'll see there, it says merchandise at the bottom of a page. Just click that link and it'll take you to the place where you can order some Rovers clothing.
Okay, and some other Rover benefits. We have a lot of people that coordinate the trips have a lot of outdoors experience. For example, in backpacking, if you've never backpacked before and you want a little guidance, or in rock climbing, or biking, or particular pannier biking, and things like that. So it's a good way to learn different outdoor skills. Most of the trips are very inexpensive because we just share the costs, and a lot of it's camping. I just went for 3 days last weekend, and I think it turned out to be $22 for camping and the cost of the firewood and whatever else we use. So, I mean, it's pretty reasonable to say the least. We also have a members only e-group. So if you want to organize some last minute ad hoc trips, particularly like in the winter, if we suddenly get a huge amount of snow and you want to get some people out to go snowshoeing or something like that, then the e-group is definitely useful for that. And to talk more about membership, Laurie, do you want to talk about membership in general?
Sure. Yeah, everything here, all that we've been talking about is $25 a year. If you're a student or live out of the 7-county metro area, it's $10. And everybody's pretty much covered everything else. The one thing that you do need to do to sign up is go to the website to sign up, even if you're going to pay by check, because when you sign up, you're also signing a waiver that we need to have signed every year, and it just automatically happens when you're going through the sign up process. And when you do that, you will get the address to mail the check to if you're going to pay by check. Other than that, it's just if you pay in by credit card, it just goes through. You get your card on the website. You sign in. You get to sign in as a member, and you'll get your card through there, and you can print it off if you want to, or just keep your number. And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Laurie. So at the end of the night, we will have a social time where we can set up breakouts for socializing in small groups. But before that, what we would like to do is create these breakout rooms where you can talk to people about different activities. So you can see the different activities or topics here listed. And we're going to have hosts for each room. And if for any reason you don't want to go in any of these rooms, you can stay in the main session if you have general questions about Minnesota Rovers. You can also, you can pick a room and then you can choose to switch to a different room when you want to. Or if you click on leave room, you'll have the option to go back to the main session when you've gone to the rooms you want to go to. And a little training on this. If you look here, when I open the breakout rooms, if you click on breakout rooms down here, you'll see these options. You'll see the breakout rooms listed, and you can click on join to join any of them. When you're in them, you'll see which one you're in at the top in case you forget which one you're in, because you've moved around a bunch of them. So you see that listed. And then when you're in the breakout room, you can also click on breakout rooms again, and you can go and join different ones. So you can move around the different rooms. And if you want to leave room, if you click on the leave room option and then leave breakout room, you'll go to the main area. And one thing that I should point out, so if you see this more here, depending on how big your browser is, you may have to click on more in order to see all these options. So hopefully you can figure it out. And if not, we can help you in the main area. Now, if you're on a mobile phone, the options are a little different. First off, you may not see anything at all, any of these buttons, until you hold your finger. You got to hold your finger on the screen, and then you will see the options. And then you can go there and you can go to pick the particular breakout room and click on join. If you want to leave, the leave is up at the top here of the screen, and then you'll get the option to leave the breakout room or leave the meeting. So hopefully everyone can figure that out.